here now, present in this moment, in every moment. And as you're experiencing any moment that comes to you, you are always in a position of choice. At all times you have the choice. At all times you have the choice where you want to direct your attention and where you want to withdraw it from. For at every moment that you're experiencing, you're having attention on something, and it's always on one thing. Even when you feel like you might be multitasking, you might get good, very good. You can get so proficient in the place of shifting your attention back and forth and finding your own balance. And sometimes that's a smooth ride, sometimes that's quite exciting and even can appear abrupt ride, but you have an opportunity to always direct your focus and to go into the place of unfocus at every given moment. And so with these words that are offered right now, we're excited to hear what is on your mind. Go ahead.
Hi, Weola. I have two things that I kind of wanted to bring into the attention. And the first one is about giving and receiving, and the power and the pleasure that lies within this act. And for me lately, what I've been discovering is there is so much joy and gratification that I get from giving gifts to people. There's something in my energy that spikes up so high when I sit and think about, who am I going to give the next gift to? Like, I get such a high and a rush off of the giving. And what I'm finding is what's starting to happen more and more and more is that because of that vibration I'm holding and that act that I'm doing, I'm starting to receive a lot of little gifts as well. And there's a lot of fun in that. And so I just wanted to know if there was something more you could speak into about how that whole act of the giving, receiving is actually more of a vibrational and energy thing. Because, when you get a flower as a gift, the flower is nice, sure. But the feeling that you get from when someone took the time to give it to you, I think there's just so much power in the giving and receiving, and I just I'm curious about what you can offer about that.
That process of giving and receiving is process of you focusing and unfocusing, focusing and unfocusing, focusing and unfocusing, and playing this lovely game that you have applied on a topic of giving gifts or receiving gifts. There's a lot of excitement about you saying that you're not only giving gifts, for as in giving gifts only and not receiving them back, you're turning the gift-giving process into this place of dependency of that type of process, even though it's exciting, but for that type of process to bring you that joy and satisfaction, joy and satisfaction, more of the joy and satisfaction. We want to bring to your attention that your process of physically giving gift is the place of you being focused, and then you receiving the satisfaction from it as that is happening in your present, or as that is happening, it might not be present, but that process like that is happening at all times with such precision for you, then that, because you appreciate your own satisfaction, because you get into the place of unfocusing, you start receiving gifts as well. So you can do this with any topic. Any topic that comes to your mind can be exactly the same thing. You can be an active player of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. And then you can be so good at that as you're describing, as you get to the place of satisfaction for cooking up this idea and receiving it, and then putting the gift together and seeing the experience of someone receiving the gift, and then you going into the place of satisfaction from that, and then you going and observing somebody gave you a gift, and then you go into the place of satisfaction, and then you go and give the gift to someone else, and then so on and so forth. But this cause and effect in you giving the gift to receive the gift does not have to be the reason for your satisfaction. And that is why we're bringing this conversation to you, because as you go into the place of giving gift and receiving, giving gift and receiving, it does not have to be exactly like that. I gave this gift, so I received this gift. Because I gave this gift, I received this gift. Because it does not work really at all times like that. It is for you to have this ease and satisfaction about whatever process there is, and that your satisfaction is first sufficient. And once your satisfaction of this, what you call energy exchange, is, then you might get a gift or you might not get a gift. But it's important sometimes to get gifts. So it's important not only for you to give the give, because the moment you start giving and giving and giving, and not allowing yourself to integrate the feeling of what you have received, to integrate the feeling of what you are getting from that. And sometimes that may be that physical gift as well. And sometimes it may be the gift of you allowing yourself to go to that place of unfocus, to that place of ease, to that place of satisfaction, to that place of appreciation, to that place of love, and having that as a steady thing. Nothing wrong about giving gifts and receiving gifts, for as long as you know that it's all focus unfocus game, and that whatever is currently the most exciting for you is not the only topic that can give you that beautiful, easy, steady feeling of creation, where you can observe creation from all aspects of it, for you to see and observe some variety and get inspiration to get into the place of satisfaction, and there receive an idea for you to gift. And then at some point observing something and get into the place of satisfaction for you to receive an idea to receive the gift, and so on. So any topic, actually, as you get to experience this topic giving you that beautiful consistent dance where you observe all aspects of the creation, receiving and giving, of that unfocus and focus, of unfocus and focus, then it's fun part for you to apply it to this topic and to this topic and to this topic. And whatever topic might be easier for you, whatever topic might be easier for you to apply it, or you see it as a next in a queue. Kosta is receiving this image of watching TV shows on Netflix, and the next one, even though the season is over, the next one is already there. There is always something next for you to see, and then you swiping it left or right if that's the next topic for you. Sometimes you go into it and it's so easy, you're then so thankful for the Netflix for allowing you, and sometimes you're watching the next topic and that is completely opposite, so you swipe to the left. In other words, we want to bring to your attention that what you're talking about and finding this satisfaction and finding this ease about the whole process, not only in the place of giving, not only in the place of you making someone else happy, because you are never making someone else happy. You, in your process of happy, are including others in your happy. And there is a great, great distinction between those two.
Okay, thank you. That very last statement you said is so good, because I was thinking to myself as you were speaking that I maybe didn't describe it in the way that I meant to, because I'm finding that I get greater joy out of the giving rather than the receiving. I don't need to have anything back. In fact, my truest joy, my greatest joy is in just the giving of the things I'm inspired to give. And I feel like how you just ended that was, that's me being in a place of happiness and that giving energy. And so that will just naturally inspire others, whether they, because I don't give anything with any expectation. I don't think, well, I'll give this and then, it's never that. It's just like, I just want to give. I just want to share. But really what you're saying, I think, is that it's just me being in that mode, that happiness, and then it just goes where it goes, and it just does what it does. And there's like a freedom in that, right? Like that's just kind of a free thing.
There is more here for you, and we're excited that you acknowledge that piece, that one piece of this is satisfying process, and in your happy, someone can choose to include and either activate or emphasize their happy. But what we want to bring to your attention is that place, and now this is something new we have not described this way before, and that is in your desire, in your belief, in your expectation that you like to do something for someone without expectation back, that you enjoy doing something for someone else, and then you do not need anything in return. In other words, in this place of you giving, and receiving satisfaction from it is only one part of your creation. Because in receiving, maybe not from this person or from that person, but you are also excited to receive from this other person or from this other experience or from this other place. In other words, that way of you finding this joy and satisfaction, we understand there is a context about that, a very strong context, even within what you call self-help, self-development, spiritual communities, of giving to others to come back to you. In other words, to giving to others something so the feeling comes back to you. But that is only the first step. The other step is that you start receiving these blessings yourself. Because if you feel that you are, and here it is, this part that you were waiting to hear, if you're looking for that consistency of giving to be enough, then you will not find the fullest satisfaction for you. In other words, what comes out that way, and that satisfaction of the feeling in the moment, no matter how satisfying it is, there is nothing really satisfying as you receive that, not only in your feeling but in your physical reality as well. Now, we're not saying you going into gifting this because you're on a great track. We're not saying you go into gifting for expectation to receive it from this or other person. But allowing yourself as you started to see those receivings and find equal satisfaction in receiving something than giving it to someone else, because that is the balance of everything that exists. It is not only about you giving, and someone else just receiving. It's about giving, receiving at all times. And as you give and receive satisfaction, at some point, if you keep that consistently, you will see that thing will start coming to you. You will feel those receivings, and you will maybe not connect them with some of the offerings, but those offerings brought you these receivings. In other words, there is so much more satisfaction in shifting and shaking up this context that seems steady for you and that can be even more steady for you. Not more steady, but more exhilarating in your steadiness. For when you learn how to receive and find equal satisfaction in receiving as in giving, as from that place of giving, you see that receiving as well. In the place of giving, you see more receiving, you see more giving, you see more receiving. Then your giving, your giveaways, your gifts will be so much more accelerated that you will get even more satisfaction from giving than from receiving, but not for too long, because when you receive, that will propel you to find newer, more satisfying ways to give, and then more satisfying ways to receive. In other words, giving brings certain amount of satisfaction, but if from place of satisfaction you go into another giving, you don't engage all of the aspects of your creation that you have access to so brilliantly tap into.